Hey there, good morning. Welcome to the JeepSolid garage. So today we're going to be working on the 1992 Jeep Wrangler YJ. I was actually out testing it just the other day. I was testing out the four-wheel drive. Well, what I was actually doing was testing out the winch, doing a little off-roading, and I thought, you know what, I need to test out the four-wheel drive on this. I believe it worked, but I wanted to double check it. So I start double checking the four-wheel drive. Two-wheel drive worked just great, and I put it in four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive worked fine until I got onto a steep incline and then put a lot of load onto the four-wheel drive. Like if I slowed down on an incline and then started to go, it would slip. Something would slip in it, almost like when you're a kid and you're riding a bike and the chain slips. So something's going on with the transfer case, so we're going to drop the transfer case on this, check it out, and see what's going on. We're going to start out by disconnecting the battery, and it was a little frustrating because I thought I was done with this project. This has been my project Jeep for actually a number of years. I rebuilt the engine, I've done all kinds of work to this. The two things I have not torn into is the transmission and transfer case. Transmission has given me zero problems, but now, yeah, something's going on with the transfer case. So I've got it at a place here where I can leave it parked for a month. I don't know however long this takes. So we're gonna drop the transfer case, dig into it, see what's going on to it, order parts. Hopefully they can get here in a timely manner. So wheels are chalked, batteries disconnected. We're gonna drop the skid plate. Before we do that, we've got to support the weight of the engine and disconnect the transmission mount here. So there's three little bolts right here that hold the transmission to the skid plate. My worry about this project is I really hope that it's just a stretched chain, that I can replace the chain on the transfer case, that I don't have gears or sprockets in there that are missing teeth, slipping, and it turns into just a much bigger rebuild. The transfer case is leaking a little bit of fluid, so replacing the seals and everything, that'll be good. We got to get that done too. So we'll get the transfer case out of here, see what's going on with it, hope for the best, order what parts we need, rebuild it, and get this thing back on the road. All right, now we've got my favorite way to drop the skid plate. I use a couple of clamps, one on each side. We've got the transmission on some jack stands and lifted up just a little bit, and you could tell all the weight is off the skid plate when the bolts, the mounting bolts, start to kind of pull up out of the skid plate a little bit. So I got the engine supported on jack stands. Now we can take out the 6 bolts holding the skid plate on. All right, that was easy enough. But boy, I am sure hoping that this is just a loose chain, that I don't have broken sprockets, because that's gonna be a much more expensive ordeal. Here's to hoping. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think my issue is. Slipping chain, broken teeth, bad spindle on the yoke, on the drive shaft. I don't know, can't be good. All right, we've got good access now to the transfer case. Let's go ahead and drain the fluid. And the reason I'm thinking it's the transfer case is the way it was slipping. And in two-wheel drive, the rear drive shaft didn't slip at all. Put it in four-wheel drive and it starts slipping, but only when there's a lot of torque on it. I have to be on an incline and give it a little bit of gas, and then it, you know, like pop, pop, like it like snaps. Feels like that slipping chain motion. But then on flat ground, the four-wheel drive seems to work fine. So I don't know. We'll see what we find inside this transfer case. I believe the transfer case is my issue. I'm not seeing chunks of metal, so that's good. All right, this is question time with Sasha.
Hi.
What did you just come out and ask me?
I asked how easy it is to burn out your clutch.
To burn out a clutch. So I said if you ride a clutch really hard for a few months, you can burn it out. You can probably burn it out quicker, I don't know. But a clutch, so when you let the clutch out and it's fully engaged, so there's two surfaces together that locks your engine and drivetrain together so it doesn't slip. If you're slipping the clutch, it means like if you push the clutch in a little bit, so the surface of the clutch is slipping on the transmission.
Okay.
So, and that's what burns it out, so that friction burns it up.
Okay.
So if you're like letting the clutch out just a little bit and giving it a lot of gas, like you're trying to do burnouts or something, I don't know. So apparently Sasha has some friends, some teenage drivers that are burning their clutches out.
Thank you.
Teaching the kids. All right, next we're gonna remove the rear drive shaft. There's little, what are those, 3/8" bolts. 4 of them on this strap right across here, 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. We'll take those out and then this drive shaft will just slip right out. This does not have a slip yoke eliminator on it, so this yoke just slides right out. And if you're curious, the size on the drain plug here was 30 millimeters. Yeah, Sasha had just come out in the shop and asked me that question she came out and, Dad, how hard is it to burn up a clutch? And I love it how she's curious about these things. One of her friends was over the other day and I got a call at work. Hey Dad, where's your code reader? One of her friends had a check engine code come on. So Sasha wanted to test it. That's awesome. Keeping everything labeled really well. It's just how I work. Now I've marked the end of the drive shaft and the yoke on the differential. So when I put this back together, I can get the drive shaft back in the exact same position. All right, let's see if we can get this drive shaft out without dropping needle bearings all over. So in the end of your drive shaft here, you've got this U-joint. These caps will come off the end of the U-joint. There's needle bearings in there. So kind of hold on to those. We'll tape them up here in a second. Might drip a little bit of oil. Yep. Here we go. So where's my mark? So there's my little white mark on the end here. And so when I put this back, I can get it back in the exact same spot. And these caps, they're staying on fine so far, but yeah, these will slip off. I actually don't even really want to take it off. There's a bunch of needle bearings in there. Now the same thing on the front drive shaft here, 4 little strap bolts all around this U-joint. I've got it marked, except this drive shaft, we're not going to take all the way out. We're just going to pull it out and slide it up out of the way because we're not going to undo the front side of it. If you don't have one of these electric ratchets, highly recommend them. One is linked in the description below. Just makes all my projects go that much quicker. Oh, that's exactly what I didn't want to happen. Lost one of my caps. Looks like all the needle bearings are still in place. This one I need to get some tape on it. Just a little something to hold those caps on there. Okay, now we can disconnect the wiring to the speed sensor. And on top, there's a vacuum line here, a vent hose. Let's see if we can get this off with one hand. I have to get a pair of pliers on there and twist that a little bit. But then our shift linkage, where's that at? Right there. That's gonna pop out too. This is hard to do with one hand and a camera. Just get a little WD-40 on that, and then it'll just pop out of there. Again, hard to do with one hand. All right, that is everything disconnected up top. And finally, 4 bolts on the bottom of the transmission mount here. Everything's disconnected off the transfer case. Now we can go after the 6 bolts that hold it to the transmission. On the driver's side, there's 1, 2, and up top there's a 3rd one. And passenger side, same thing. You can see 2 of them right here easily. The 3rd one is in the same position as on the driver's side. Up on top there, it can be difficult to reach though. A lot of times you gotta use extensions and swivels and get it from farther back up on the transmission there and just fish down and get it. All right, so I jacked the transmission and everything back up, lowered the jack stands a little bit so you can get to these bolts a little bit easier. And primarily I did that so I could get to that top passenger side one, because that one is gonna be the hardest to get to. These other guys you can get to fairly easily, so I'm just gonna make sure these are all loose. We'll go over to that other side, get some extensions on it, and see if we can break it loose. On the passenger side, the bottom one here, fairly easy. The top one, or the middle one, I can get to it okay. That top one, let's get some extensions, and I'm finding that a 9/16 wrench fits on there nicely. 9/16 is nice and snug. That top one, I can feel it up there, so yeah, we're gonna get some extensions from up top here. All right, I got my extra long extension here. This actually might be a little too long. We'll give it a try though. Got my swivel on there, our 9/16, and we're gonna bare hand this because I gotta be able to feel when it gets on there. Let me find where it's at. Where is it? There it is. This is just like fishing in the dark. There you go. I think we are on it. Let's see if it'll break loose here. Dang it, slipped off. I might need to get a deep set on here. All right, I finally was able to get a wrench up on this. I tried a variety of deep set sockets. This socket is not quite as deep set as that one. I tried a more shallow socket, all this with a swivel, a long extension, a medium extension. I just couldn't get a good bite on it, but what I was able to do finally with my ratcheting wrench here, I was able to, because I have the transmission down just far enough, I can slip this wrench above the muffler or catalytic converter, or whatever you want to call it. And I can get it right on there, and I have just enough ratcheting in it to be able to get it. If I can feel. There it is. I have just enough room to get this wrench on it. Once we get this bolt out though, all the others are just way easier. So we're gonna take this one all the way out. There we go. There it is. Oh, that was a battle. Okay, we are down to our very last bolt. So I got my transmission jack here. Handy little jack to have, supporting it. And we'll take this last bolt out and get this sucker out of here. All right, let's see if we can pull this guy away. Ah, we're looking fluid. Oh yeah, it's coming off of that input shaft nicely. Just gonna make sure I have it supported enough here. Ah, looking more fluid. Boy, having this transmission jack, this is sure nice. I get a little container to put under that. A little bit of transmission fluid leaking. There we go. All right, let's pull this guy out and see if we can see any metal fragments in the fluid here. Well, when I was draining the fluid, I didn't see any big metal chunks then. And when I'm taking these plugs off and kind of feeling around, getting a little fluid on my finger here, I'm not seeing flakes of metal, so that's good. I've just showered, put everything away, and then I was taking a look at this again, and I thought, I gotta show you guys this, listen. Quite a bit of chain slap going on in there. We'll see. Hopefully a sign on one of the sprockets is not chewed up, missing a bunch of teeth. I don't feel any big chunks of metal in there, so that's good. So thank you guys so much for following along. Check out my next video right up here. We will continue with this, break this open, see if we can see what's going on the inside. If we need new chain, sprockets, obviously new seals. I believe this is the issue. We'll find out right up here. Thank you guys. Have a good day.